Checking 1 2 3. Check. Mic test. Checking. All right. Yeah. Good day. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening to you guys. Welcome back to my channel. And here, I am Practiphile. For those of you who don't know me, I am a self-taught musician. I mainly play the drums. I once lived in the audiophile heaven, Japan. When I was there, I was able to try out different stuff. Probably close to 1,000 earphones IEMs by now, but doesn't mean that my ears are superior to yours, because again, you know the script. This hobby is subjective, so only trust your ears, because ultimately you are gonna be the one spending. I think this is a little bit too high. Lower down a little bit, kind of like that. Yeah. All right, so yeah, as for the title in there. Oh, wait. Are you able? Okay, there. As for the title in there, yeah, I am going to do what? Yeah, talk about what my plans for channels are. Also about target curves. Recently, I've realized something, and some of the IMs here and some products that I want to talk about. So yeah, let us do that. And yeah, I got this t-shirt. I got this t-shirt long time ago. Not a long time, but probably in January. This is from Hi-Fi Go, but I didn't have the I didn't have the chance to wear it. It's winter here. It's cold. And I'm careful sipping my coffee. I got a comment on the community that, you know, it's annoying to listen to my sips. I can't understand that. I totally missed that part, but yeah. Anyhow, what do we do? Yeah, I'll probably gonna do. This is actually a really cool dongle, but I think I've seen this before. I think what's that brand? DD Hi-Fi have done similar. Can't remember, but it feels like it's DD Hi-Fi or like something similar doing that. Doing this. So it's the Truthear Keyx, or Keyx, right? And it's a CS43131. Of course, we all know what that is. That DAC chip is very capable, and when I say it's capable, usually that DAC chip is paired already with an amplifier, so should be enough. Oh, and it says DSP. I didn't know that. Interesting. So, and it's been tested even with the J Kelly and stuff. 43131. They always measure linearly, and it's been praised, like even in the audio science review forums. Why does it say it has DSP? So do you have you do have an EQ tool? That's interesting. I didn't know that. So you can, interesting. I didn't know that. I thought it was just like that. Okay. So they did make a website on this, eqtool.com. Interesting. Yeah, there's an EQ tool in here. I'll show you. Yeah, it's here. So basically, this is because look at this, dude. This is so cute. This is the dongle. It's an L type. So let me find a phone here. This one's not charged, but this is the phone, and this is the dongle, and it's just gonna sit like that. Pretty cool. Pretty ingenious. Very innovative. And it has PEQ, I suppose. Yeah, I suppose this has PEQ. Um, Interesting. And let me see if it's really PQ. So you can export FR from wavelet, import. Wait. You can import SRT files. ST, really? Yeah, no filter found. But let's see. Let me try. I don't know. Like, it's just seen here. Export. So I got studio. Where is this now? And then import. Ooh, dude. Wow. Did you see what I just did? Um, you can cross. Okay. That okay. Yeah, it's nice. So basically, hello there, Ton. Hello, Ton. So what I was doing is I was doing the EQ tool. This is from Truthear, right? The dongle, the L type, which is really small. I don't know how much are these. How much are these? Dude, this is amazing. Truthear Keyx price. No, there's no price yet. They haven't released it yet. Interesting. Now, the one that I recommend, like a dongle or like yeah, a dongle that I recommend was the Truthear. No, not Truthear. Theo Melody. Because it has PEQ. It is 43131. And it sounds good. So I don't know what you do with this one in here. So once you're done with this, maybe you export EQFR, I guess. And then and what do you do next? How do you upload it? So you have, yeah. Okay. So yeah, you're gonna put your device in there. Ooh, dude. This is amazing. So you can import your EQ in there and save EQ. And it reads SRT files. Perfect. And it's based off of Squig. I'm pretty sure it's based off of Squig. What the hell? It's based off of Squig, man. Like they didn't even bother to change like the sub bass, air. But man, this is yeah, see that? So the web software is based on Crane Graph open source project by Marshall. So it's based off of Squig. So basically you can import whatever EQ you do on Squig, you do here, which is amazing, right? But how does it sound? Let's see. Dude, this is amazing. I'm not kidding. Because the thing about this is the I know you can do it with the protocol, but you have to go to Crin's site. Was it protocol? Is it protocol max? Is that the dongle Crin has? Anyhow. Alright, so I have Keyx in here. So I'm putting the dongle on a DAP, which is, you shouldn't do that. Anyway, um, I'm gonna use Mega 5P in here. High Senior Mega 5P. Okay. Fucking shit. Ah, I shouldn't have done that. Okay, so let's. This shouldn't sound bad. I mean, like, I doubt dongles sound. Okay, it's I. It's just pretty standard. It's just good sounding, you know. Like it's a typical CS43131 implementation. What I mean by that is, yeah, it's the thing I like about this is it's very compact. I mean, it doesn't dongle. It's supposed to be called a dongle, but it doesn't dongle. Dangle. Um. Ooh. Yeah, it's definitely like, look, I don't want to talk about source sounds because it's a very controversial topic anyway. I do not know the release date, but this is amazing. I can tell, like, if they price it like 30, like even at most 50, if it's more than 50, they shouldn't. There's already a lot, but the competitor for this is the Melody. So hopefully the Theo Melody, is it? Yeah. And the TRN Black Pearl. Both of those dongles have PEQ and they have 4.4. Well, this sounds good. Like, when I say it's good, it's just basic. It's loud. It's loud enough. Like, if you can see, I'm probably around, I don't know, 70 dB. I still have some juice. The bad thing is it doesn't really have an independent volume control. So what I mean by that is usually with dongles, you have independent volume controls. You can control the volume from the source and from the dongle itself. This one here, you don't have that. So, I mean, like, I'm pretty sure this will be priced pretty, like, I don't, if they price this more than 40, probably not, because again, there's like, the packaging is pretty simple. So it supports 384, 32-bit, DSD256. Why are there two types in here? So, okay. So 2 VRMs on 600 ohm load. I'm thinking there's like 2 loads in here because okay, I'm pretty sure it's because of the DSP, but without DSP it should be just 50 milliwatts at 32. But again, it shouldn't be priced more than 40. The packaging is pretty simple. Because again, the TRN Black Pearl and the Melody, they're the gatekeepers in that price range. The good thing about this is actually the app, the EQ tool, because you can cross it from like any squig and then it reads the SRT file or the text file. But so far it's promising. And when I say it's promising, if they price it like 20 bucks, it's over. Like, it's over. I don't see any point of why people would go further than that, other than if they need 4.4 balance. But for beginners, with with an EQ tool, PEQ for that matter. This is amazing. Because in my channel, I always, if you guys don't know, practiphile, file, of course, I don't know why I put file in there, but I'm a very practical guy. You know, like very practical, if you know that word. And so that's why it's practiphile. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it's good, it's good. And so it kind of like makes sense with the way my channel works. I put IMs in specific price range because it's practical to do that. You know, why would you pile everything in like the same pool of IMs? Like, say for example, like the Chew versus the Mystic Raft Hex. Why would you do that? The show was 70. I'm pretty sure it's around 30, yeah. Probably even cheaper. Basing on the box and hopefully 20. I mean, it shouldn't be really that expensive though. 10 is a banger. So going back, so yeah, it's practiphile means practical. And this is very practical, you know, like price to performance ratio. It's amazing value, yeah. It's nice, yeah. It's balanced. I don't hear any peaks in the treble. Pretty classic CS43131. The bad thing is you cannot really fine tune the volume. That's the thing. So it's nice. It's a very engaging sound, and when I say engaging, it's not too flat. It's not too boring. Because sometimes the 43198, I find them to be too, I don't know, too colorless. Yeah. Look at this. It's very, very small. And that's it. Yeah. Truthear Keyx. I don't know how they stuff everything in there. It's a very small dongle. I mean, you shouldn't expect it to be loud too, but very, very promising. Okay, interesting. I'll definitely going to review this. Maybe a short video because again, well, how do we talk about sources, right? It's really just about, sometimes I can measure them, but I doubt it graphs weird. Most of the dongles graph linear anyway, and if there's going to be some change, it's very, very minimal, like probably at most 2 dB in any frequency from the bass to the treble. So yeah. All right, what we are going to check now is the Moritz Aura. Okay, so the Moritz is here. It's a very nice presentation overall. I already opened it, by the way, just showing you what's inside. You know what? I don't want to show you what's inside. Because what's inside is just this carrying case in here, which is a very big carrying case, by the way. Um, and then very nice looking cable. They're like pipes, interchangeable 3.5 to 4.4, of course. And the IMs themselves, which are very, very beautiful. Very beautiful. Look at that. Like, it's, you probably won't appreciate it, but um the shells looks like AFO 5+2, I guess, but it's more, I know you can't appreciate it, but it's more, it pops out more. The text pops out more because I think there are layers on the resin, so it looks like 3D or something. It says Aura and then Moritz, so whoop, come on. Yeah, maybe you can't notice it, but yeah. And then what else does it come with? Ear tips, ear tips. What ear tips does it come with? Probably just normal AETs. Do you know that the AET, like, I think people call it KB ear AET07, right? But it's originally from Akustun. That's why it's AET07. But I don't know if they patented that ear tip, because a lot of, you know, because it's China, right? So it's not like stealing, but AET, everyone uses it. Every, like, it's like the standard of ear tips, but it just got well known with KB ear AET, right? But it's originally from Akustun. They have AET08, AEX, I think, I forgot, but yeah. So yeah, they come with this kind of like custom, semi-custom shells, pre-molded, should fit good, but oh man. Alright, let me show you the graph. Alright, I mean, I graphed it last night. So, yeah, it's like that. Some channel imbalance going on. I don't know. What do you think? I'm scared. I am scared. So moving back to the question, what my plans are for this channel. So I probably stop accepting more products because it's just, you know, it's taking a toll on me. I feel like I'm just reviewing out of just for the sake of reviewing. Yep, definitely V-shape. Good morning, Adam. Adam is my new sugar daddy, by the way. I've got 3 sugar daddies now. Jaytis, Omar, Audio Amigo. Oh, 4. So Mark, Super Reviews, Jaytis, Omar, and Adam. My sugar daddies are those people who loan me sets. So I loaned sets from Mark, and then Jaytis, Omar, and Adam. So yeah, going back to what I talk about my channel, I probably stop receiving other stuff only because I know, I mean, I understand how graphs work. I mean, I graph IMs. But I'm not taking my advice too well. I teach people to read graphs and then maybe filter out, but I'm not doing it on my reviews. I should be able to do that. It's so easy, right? So if they send me stuff, I pretty sure I saw the graph of the aura before and I said yes anyway. But when I see a graph of an IM, that should be enough for me to, yeah, maybe I won't review it because probably I won't like it. So here we go. Let's see if I actually would like the aura. Boop. Okay, so that wasn't bad. Test track, Unwell by Matchbox 20. Yeah, it's definitely. It's not as bassy as I thought it would be. But I'm pretty sure mids on here are gonna sound. Yeah. Ooh. Sibilants. The sibilants. My detail retrieval is good because, of course, you have a very prominent peak there. Around 8K. Alright, let's try Under My Umbrella by Incubus. Okay, interesting. They are deep. These are definitely V-shaped, so the mids are scooped. Some in timbral inaccuracies going on with instruments. Hi-hats are forward sounding, but surprisingly they don't sound artificial. They're just crisp. Probably it's mitigated by the amount of bass. But definitely this is not a vocal set. Let's try High Spring by Ayu. Of course, it's sparkly. Vocals sound okay. Yeah, but I do hear that sibilance in there, like with the T's and the S's. Alright, let's try Playing God by Polyphia. Man, these are there's a lot of details going on in here. Like it extracts noise. But very sharp transients though. Oh, that's sharp. Nah, it's very sharp. Like the plucks on the nylon strings, they're not supposed to sound this way. Ooh. Good bass though. Nah, okay. So this is where it falls into pieces. Dude, no, it's not natural on the cymbals at all. They sound plasticky now. Oh man. All right, let's try get Daft Punk Get Lucky. Bass is nice though. Like it's not a lot. It's not a lot. I mean, it looks a lot, but it decays nicely. What's the Moritz aura specs? I should have searched the specs actually. Dude, this is 450? 4 BAs. 4 BAs, okay. Okay. 450 though. Dang. Let's see here. Okay, they kind of liked it. Hide five people, they kind of like it. Man, this is a very hard sell though. Dude, why can't they fix this? It seems like there's really some channel imbalance going on both channels. That's the same exactly as mine. Are they giving like, I don't know. Dude, to be honest, they're not as they're not as bad as it looks on graphs. Interestingly, yeah. If your library has a lot of bass, like I know hip hop, it's probably okay. EDM would probably be good on this. Um, I'll try Invitation by Urbanddub here. So this kind of tuning creates a fake stage because of course the bass is elevated, and then you have very boosted 8K energy in there. Um, so it creates this fake stage that maybe people find that instrument separation is better. And I say all of these technicalities, they are usually just perceived. I think I'm partial on saying that technicalities are inherent to the drive. Yes, there is truth to that. They can be inherent to the drivers, but most of the time, I feel like stage and layering is mostly perceived. Um, because again, we have different ear canal lengths, we have different bends, so we just perceive things differently. That's just the nature of it. It is true. It is true. Um, but when I saw this graph, I thought it's gonna be bassy, and it's V shaped, and it's true to some. It's true. I'd say it's 70% the what I expected. Um, the other 30% is, of course, the driver type and how they would interact in your ears. And I expected worse, actually. There are good-looking graphs that does not sound as good. Like for example, what was that? Tears. Like the tears, surprisingly, graphs really good, but they just sound cheap. It's Yes, exactly. So, yep, exactly. That's on the treble. So the tears, they sound good. Um, let's see. Let's try the worst in here by Polyphia. The bass on this is really good, but again, I'm looking at this. Dude, this extracts noise. I'm not kidding. It's like it extracts noise from the recording. It's crazy. Um, wow. You do hear a lot of details in there. Or maybe it doesn't extract noise. It's a very sensitive IM, I guess. Man, it's too long. I know it's a very dragging song, but I'm waiting for the cymbal crashes to start. so that I can pinpoint the accuracy of instruments. Yeah, pretty good staging. That's what I thought. It has a deeper stage. Um Now, how about let's try it on actual tracks, like the tracks that I listen to. Say, for example, Yoroshka. They are. Dude, the vocals are surprisingly not so recessed. And I'm pretty sure it's because of the BA. Kyomo dekemasen deshita. Kyomo waraemasen deshita. Alright, this graph reminded me of an IM that I don't have, but I saw. Man, I don't even know how to find that IM, but oh man, but this graph, like, it has a gain around 2K, but it just has very boosted presence over there. So this is a 4B, right? Um, I don't know. Maybe my ears are cocked, dude, but they actually sound pretty decent. Just sound. Okay, I'm not talking about price to performance yet because these are $450, right? So, having said that, it's like as a as a proponent for graph, um they actually sound pretty okay for how they graph. And what I mean by that is it's a compliment to the brand. So when I graphed it, so when I did my unboxing, yes, last night, I thought that Moritz is a good brand, just with the unboxing, because the unboxing seems to have, like, they really have, like, like attention to detail. So I'll show you. I'll just show you how. So it's very simple. There's no plastic. There's just this sticker in here that you peel, and then so you open the box. It's you know, and the IMs were here, right? These rings in here, like, lines, kind of like gave me the impression of, like, wong. These are very subtle art stuff in here, but it created an impact of, like, created an impact on. Okay, let me just. How did it look like? But like this, like wong, something like that, like heavenly, or it was nice. So I thought, wow, this brand is cool. Like, they pay attention to detail, and then that's that's all, actually. But I mean, that subtle nuance in there gave me an impression of this brand is, they know what they're doing. And then here comes the Karen case. It's probably one of the best cases I've seen on an IM. It it feels premium, man. Feels premium, and the cable, the cable. What a nice selection of cable. Like these pipe looking cables are interesting, you know, and of course they're interchangeable, and the cable is of good quality, you know. So everything was really nice with the unboxing, and they came with the protruding pin. um I don't know why, but usually with protruding pins they are of good quality. But anyhow, and then moving on to the design, I was like, wow, this is really amazing. Like, I know Chimera or Celeste, they make very good shells, but this is on another level. I have never seen um a shell like this with layers. And even when you look at the side, I'm not sure if you can see that, that coating in there is thick. It is thick. It's like the resin and then the shell. Um, it's thick, man. So their text comes off like 3D because there's like the design embedded on the floor of the shell, which is, and so I have, you know, like I had good first impression with the unboxing, and then I graphed it. And I'm like, oh come on, what a waste of, in at the back of my mind I said, what a waste of you know, this beautiful looking I am, and why this, you know. And so I was like, ah, too bad it crafts like this. And so I was biased. I have to agree, I'm biased with, we all are biased with the graph and stuff. We sniff too much, and so that was my prejudice, you know. Because I looked at it at face value. I told you, man. So I right now I have three IMs that I ranked S. I have the Kima 2. Let's sure S12. So I already have Kima 2 in the different price ranges, right? So in what's my price range? I forgot. I always forget my price range. Um so 61 to 120 I have Kima 2, 120 to 250 I have Let's Sure 2024. Could be the Ultra. Ultra could be viable. I haven't heard the Ultra, but I'm borrowing one from JTIZ. And in 251 to 499 it's gonna be the Performer 8S. And I'm looking for a perfect scored IM sub 60. That will be my next goal for this channel. Um, because I want this channel to be more personal. I don't want it to be like, and to begin with, this was just a personal something to begin with anyway. It's like I'm just showing you guys what my um path, or like I'm not here to tell you that I've reached the end game and then tell you what to do. I'm still, we're in here together finding that end game, and it just happens that I have different price ranges. And it just happens that I review, so it's probably a little bit quicker for me, which is false, because end game is a state of mind. It's when you are satisfied with what you have, or you have the knowledge to do some changes, EQ and stuff. So um and I'm proponent for knowledge, you know, like if you know what you're doing, if you know a little bit of audio, if you know a little bit of EQ, if you know a little bit of how to read graphs, then at least you won't be spending as much. And I'm glad that you find your end game, Kigo 8303. I like the Kima too. Moving back to the Moritz. Moritz. Aura. And so I was not like, oh man, this graph is weird. It's gonna be V shape. So this is a 4BA IM, right? Now, my impression of this is, yeah, I think the brand is legit. I mean, legit in a way that This is from Hong Kong, by the way. Let me Moritz website. Let's read together if they have. Moritz Aura. Do they have? Okay, Moritz Audio. There you go. Right. So it's 429 something. Let's go to home and about Moritz. I usually like reading the company vision and mission, because when you make a company, you have to have a vision and mission, right? It's not all about money. It's all about like how you started. It tells a lot. So Moritz is a boutique in-ear company from Hong Kong. Okay, it's a boutique one with its ultimate pursuit of sound quality. It has been destined to be extraordinary since the brand was founded. After 7 years of preparation, but also the deepening of understand the essence of music, Moritz insists on taking users' auditory experience as the core. That's interesting. And insist on taking the user's auditory experience. That says a lot. Um, because when I say that, they don't really rely on graphs. Combining traditional craftsmanship with modern technology, and is committed to providing music lovers with an auditory feast that exceeds expectations. It did exceed my expectation. Interesting. Okay, they don't have really a vision and mission, but um, that's nice. So it's a boutique company, uh, quite expensive. So I think what they did here is, um, but they, oh man, I'm not sure if they mentioned the specs, like the brands. So I think what they did here, I'm lost my train of thought. Um, they're a boutique company, and they are, I don't know, like there's so many BAs out there, and then to they tune the BAs to its full capacity. Let's just put it that way. I believe that they just, you know, tune the BAs to its full capacity. Probably they pushed a little forward on that peak in there, but I don't know, but that's how I felt. They tuned it to its full capacity. And so yeah, it's not as bad as I expected. Actually, it's a very fun listen. It's a very fun IM. But for 450 bucks, again, for 450 bucks, if you can buy the Kima 2 and Endgame for like 90, it's a hard sell. It's really a hard sell. I'm not saying they're bad sounding. Again, they're not. They're definitely decent. But dang, I need to find that. You know what? I'm just gonna find Crin. Hangout. And I'm gonna find. Is this the 7-Eleven? Yeah. I'm gonna look for the brand here. Oh god, this is gonna be 7 hertz. Nope. Acoustune Advanced. Nope. Aroma. Nope. ODs. Nope. Audio Sense DT100, I think. No. DT200. No. DT600. Maybe. T800. I think it's the DT. AQ3, probably not AQ4. But yeah, it's the DT. Is it really the DT? Yeah, I'm confused now. Dude, the DT graph's good for its time. AQ3. I think it was the AQ3. I don't know. Do they have the aura in here? Nah, no Moritz. Yeah, I know, I know. I love the Kima too as well, and I don't know. So yeah, I think that's all. So moving back to, because I think I mentioned about target curves, right? And I realized something because I listened to the Mega 5P last night. No, yesterday for a couple of days. I've had this set. I bought this set on a discount with High Senior way back when I was in Japan. And when you look at Head-Fi, what's that? Mega 5P. I think I was the first one to review this. And right now it's just 3. Oh, probably not. No, I'm definitely the first one to review this. Yay, look at that. It's me. This was 2022. That was 3 years ago, right? 3 years ago. I was in Japan at this time. And yeah, my shots were pretty good. It was from the phone. This is me, by the way. If you guys are Filipino and speak Bisaya, my kuya muhabal. Anyhow, yeah, so I was a pretty amateur at this. I'm still amateur now. Anyhow, but yeah, I bought this in Japan. Dude, I don't want to watch my video. It's still pretty bad, but even until now, not a lot of people know about this set. But it's been my reference for a long time. I ranked it 5-star. But at this point, I didn't have a ranking system yet when I did my review on YouTube. I think I said moving back anyhow. So I made the target, like I have a balanced target in there and a neutral target. Okay, balanced and neutral. So balanced target, definitely it has more bass and some gain in there. And then neutral is of course lesser bass. I did a cut in here at 6K because it with the lesser bass, that gain in there becomes a little more apparent. So a cut at 6K makes the mids a little fuller, not sounding too thin. So you can actually do that. So if you do a cut in the, well, it's called the presence region, I like this cut. It makes the vocals a little more forward and makes the mids more fuller compared to if you have an extension going on, then it's probably gonna sound a little more peaky. Yeah, so in my balance, I don't have a cut because there's a bass to compensate for that. How do I know this? It's really just practice. It's just practicing EQ and practicing EQ, and we based our targets based off an EQ'd product, right? Having said that, Kima 2 clearly follows my balance target gain. Look at that in there. It's just, yeah, except for the bass, but that's another topic. So that's why I know. I mean, I made this target way before Kima 2. I just know that this sounds natural. I mean, this kind of gain sounds natural. And anything lower than that too, I know. But for me, I just sometimes I like female vocals, so I made the gain to be like maximum, right? Like this is the highest it can go. And talking about gain, I call this gain. I don't want to call it pina gain. How do I even start? Because measurements started with mostly headphones before. And I know Idiomatic did their own measurements too. But it started with headphones, and they call it a pina gain because they discovered that the ears actually boosts this area here. The pina is this part, right? And when sounds enter here, sounds, the 3K region is boosted just because of the overall structure. It's just science. So that's why it's a pina gain, because it's a natural amplification of sounds because of the physics, our ear, like the outer ear going on to the ear canal. It's a natural amplification. That's why it's called a pina gain, right? Now hear me out. If you use IEMs, you bypass the pina, right? So there is no sense in putting too much gain in there because the pina is bypassed. Why would you you know what I mean? So but I feel like in when earphones started doing measurements too, they kind of like copied how headphones were measured and maybe did their own calibration and did the pina gain anyway. I don't know why. Most of them actually sound okay, but definitely the when you notice that like like almost all targets right now, you probably notice that they are vocal forward or mids forward because of that amplification in there, right? So having said that, Dunokima 2 does sound very good. Like they are nice mids, just a little bit mid forward, right? And so as my target. Now here comes Mega 5P. So I thought that, man, this is a very balanced sound. And it does. It is a very balanced sound. But it does not have that a lot of gain. I just call it gain, not pina. So there's not a lot of gain in there. And I feel like this kind of target without a lot of gain, so maybe just how much are these? So this is 55, so maybe just 10 dB. This is probably enough. 5 to 10 dB of gain in this era is probably enough. Definitely Cran ear, Daybreak is definitely too much. It's definitely too much, especially on the speaking here. So maybe lesser than that, and that's why, like even with the Odyssey doesn't really have a lot, and I find the Odyssey to be really balanced sounding. You know that I love the Odyssey. Even the Odyssey 2, kind of like a little more peak in there, but with the Odyssey, they just sound natural. The Mega 5P just sounds really balanced for me. Okay, and it's making more sense. Why do I keep coming? No, not keep coming. Why do IEMs in this kind of like gain, like a lesser gain, keeps attracting me in a way that I really find them natural? And having said that, the recent Performer 8S I discovered, and I was like, man, the Mega 5P sounded really, really familiar. And I thought like, dang, of course, why not? Why not? Because it just is. I just look at that. It's and the Odyssey. I mean, I almost scored the Odyssey perfect because you know, like it's I like the Odyssey. I almost call it perfect. And I didn't score it perfect because I know there are some unit variations. Um but having said that, for me, I know I should change my target, but like this 55, right? So I think 7 dB mat. No, no, wait. This is 55. So for sorry. Where am I? So this is 60, 65. Yeah. So 7 dB of gain. I think that's, for me, it's really is natural. 5 dB, so 5 to 7 dB. Maybe 10 is a little bit too much for a gain. Yeah, so I should change my target, right? So yeah, that's just what I want to talk about. For me, I really find, so yeah, for me, I really find these gains like the Affle. I know Affle. I trust the brand. I think they really tune. They tune, and you know what? Affle sticks to their tuning. They stick to their tuning, man. Like even starting with, Performer 5, they never put a peak more than, they never put a peak with the Canter. They never put a peak more than 10 dB. The Dawn X, they never put a peak in there. The Explorer, Magic One, probably that's the most they did. The Magic One, Performer 5, 5 plus 2, Performer 8. So they don't put a peak. And I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. I just feel like we've been a little bit misled. Why? Okay, because again, the Pina gain, again, this is a natural amplification. The Pina gain is this part in here. It's a natural amplification of our ears just because of the nature of it, from sounds going on to your ear holes. It just amplifies that area in there. So it started with headphones. They noticed that there's a peak in there when they measure. It's a natural occurrence. That is interesting. That is interesting. So moving on to my next point, um, it is not unpleasant, but I feel like with lesser bass, it can get a little too uh excessive. Not timbrely. So with the, okay, do you know have you seen headphone show graphs, and they have like what's this one here, like how do I call that, like headphone show when they put a graph, there's like there's a highest and lowest point. I like how they do that, and Target should actually do that. I mean, not Targets, like reviewers should do that. So what they're doing is like everything that fits that what the lines, everything that fits the lines, most of the time they sound natural, and you can just EQ that to the flavor you want. And there are like, definitely, if the graph exceeds more than 10 dB, I noticed there are timbral inaccuracies. Yeah, definitely there are timbral inaccuracies if the graph, say for example, the what did I review last? Beta, the Twistura beta. Okay, I this one in I know, but let me put it to 500. Look at that. I'm pretty sure that is excessive. It's excessive enough to alter the timbre. And I said that in my review. It's excessive. I don't know why some people like it. Maybe it's just a bend on their ears. I don't know. But yeah, and I with my neutral target also. Where's my neutral target? So no. With my neutral target, um, I put a cut in there because I patterned it from the Studio Force, right? And I EQ'd the Studio Force to have like a smooth 6K without the dip, and it sounded excessive in this area here. And when I say excessive, it's just, bright. It's just bright. And when I do the cut in there, it made it a little more natural, and it lift the mids up a little bit. And most of the time I like IMs with dip in the presence. It just makes mids a little fuller. Um so it's probably just the bends in my ears. So I'm saying that I'm not saying they are. So going back to your question, Miss, can you describe what they're not unpleasant for me? They're not unpleasant for me, and even my target has those peaks, right? My balance and my neutral. It's just that I have come to realize that lesser gain, except for the Kima 2. I mean, the Kima 2 is also a little bit less in there, if you can see. Lesser gain, I actually gravitate more towards IMs with lesser gain. I find them to be like balance, just balance. I cannot call them mid-centric. I cannot call them warm, maybe a little bit warm, maybe a little bit of treble, but I just find them to be really balanced. IMs with a lesser gain. So I'm not saying the excessive 3K hertz are bad. I'm just saying that, yeah, they are. Um, it's probably, I don't know. I probably should make like a target with like same as headphone show, wherein they have like the highest and the lowest, if you know what I'm talking about. I yes, I understand that. I also feel that in the 1.5 to 2K, especially with uh what headphone is that? For a while, dude. I'm just gonna take a piss. All right, sorry about that. So, distant mountain. Um, dude, distant mountain. Look at this. So, that's like 2.5 or something. This was way too much for me. This was shouty, and it's probably too much for most people anyway, because like that is like let's count dB here. This 55, 10, freaking wait, 55, so 10, 20, 25, 30. Is that wait. It started with 55, right? So 10, 20, 25 dB. Of course, that's crazy. Which IMs do I find shouty? I'm pretty sure there are. I just can't think of. Um, I can't think, but I'm pretty sure there are. I know. It's I know. HRTF is really just a fancy word for subjectivity. You know. Um, what was it? I know there are IMs that were shouty for me, but I just don't know where. And yeah, sometimes no, not probably not. Usually NF audio have peaks. I can't think of now. Um, yeah, Mega 5P is a good set. I listened to it again last night, and so yeah. So yeah, that's just what I want to talk about. What's my title today again? All right. Title today is what was the title? Forgot what my title is. Dang. Target graphs or something. But yeah, plans for my channel. Yeah, again, I think I'm gonna be focusing more on the budget. I'm interested on the reference though. I'm probably gonna get the reference. Um, and I want to make this channel more personal in a way that you can see my growth. So I don't want to be like seen as, oh, you've heard a lot. No, I want to be part of you, and like we do this together and you share your journey, and this is me just recording my journey. um so yeah, so I'm on a hunt of that perfect I am under 60, and it hasn't arrived yet, or maybe it has. I haven't heard of it. um but yeah, I will be more uh yeah, I will be more, how do I say, I just don't want to accept more stuff, because I want my content to be, because I feel like I'm really just making reviews just for the sake of it, and you probably can see that too. um I am the type of person who likes quality, like how well I do, and I want to improve, and um and I just don't feel like I'm doing a great job if I don't like a set. And I can filter that. I mean, I teach people to like don't read graphs and don't buy, and but I don't do that, so it's kind of like funny, right? So I want to do that too. Probably the Moritz is gonna be the last to, because I know, like, when I search, like, when they reached out to me and they're like, do you want a sample of the aura, and I search aura, and I think I checked JTIS. um Moritz aura, let's see. I think I saw JTIS. Yeah, JTIS. Oh, only three of us. Only three of us. I'm glad they reached out to me. Okay. And I was like, man, that's weird. And I said yes anyway. But hey, having said that, they're it's pretty good actually. I don't know, just so he has the dragon. Dragon is good. This one's good. No? I think this is good. It looks proper. How about Paradise? Dude, they look good. I don't know what's wrong with the aura. Why they do that? Again, that's what I said. This is a 4BA. And I said that I feel like it doesn't make sense, right? Why with this kind of craftsmanship, okay? This is a boutique brand with this kind of craftsmanship, and they would ruin the sound. I don't think, but I know it's hard for me to, it's a very hard sell if I show this graph. It's really a hard sell for 450. You gotta listen to this. And I know I'm not saying that this sounds perfect, but you hear this peak in the, you hear that the, it's very forward in there, and you have a bass, but it's not as bad. That's what I'm saying. Wait, you're not seeing me, right? Sorry about that. Um so yeah, the dragon is like this and the paradise is this. So they actually look good. And going back, so I feel like they they tuned the 4BAs here to its maximum capacity, just, you know, squeezed out the energy from the drivers. Yeah, just. Oh, this is interesting. I didn't know that. You can do this? Wow. You get forward. I should do this. I should do this to my site. How did he do this? Probably just link something? Yeah, I don't have links in there. Um, interesting. Preference bounds. Right, and I'm probably gonna... What else? What do I need to talk about? Or if you guys have any suggestions on how I should do my reviews, what do I need to do more comparisons? Or I saw J Audio's video yesterday about, like, you know, like different upgrade paths. I kinda wanna do that too, but like, yeah, we kinda like share the same preferences anyway. Probably 80%. So with the reviewers, I think I aligned more with J Audio, JTiz, Omar, a little bit of Timmy, yeah. Mark, not so much, but I do like his views. Kind of like see other people's perspective. And I'm not the kind of person who dismisses other person's views, because I find like every opinion, they're valuable, right? If you're a scientist, like, I mean, I'm in the medical field, and so in science, all objective or subjective data is important. That's the way it is. When you're doing research, you're not... So for when you're doing research, you're supposed to have a question first, like, what do you want to know, right? And the answer is not always a yes, you know, and that's why you're doing research, to know if it's a yes or a no. But that's the thing, like, every data that you get, subjective, objective, you have to take all of those in a fair amount of weight, you know, like, you cannot be prejudiced, like, I want my answer to be yes, but this data kind of like don't agree with what I want to achieve. It's not research, right? It's just plain wrong. Exactly, yeah. Exactly, dude. And did you see my truth, like, a while ago, the Truthear? Have you seen? I'm not sure if you've seen my first part of the video, but you know, this is the Truthear EQ app. Okay, oops, let me just... Sorry about that. So the website is patterned off of Graph, of course, so it's based off of Squig, I guess. Which is nice. You can... So hopefully, I'm thinking this one here is, I don't know, 20 bucks. I don't suggest this if this is 40, but I'm thinking this is gonna be like 20 bucks, which is very good, because it's using the Squig data source, and what you can do is you can actually import SRT files. I did it. I tried it. Like, I just imported this one in here. So let me just reset that, right? This is the what? Reset. How do you reset this? Okay, EQ reset, right? I imported an SRT file. Studio Force, right? And it goes like that. So basically what you do is you make your EQ here and you change it from the source. So if you EQ from the source, It's good, yeah. Oh yeah, the preference adjustment. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, I think that the EQ, yeah, preference adjustment. So, and that's why you don't really. I should stop posting my target curve actually because it doesn't make sense. But I'll probably just put in there like, what's that? Under what they call that? Like the preference adjustment. It's better that way. But I don't like the preference adjustment for the JM1 because um I don't know. Or maybe it's fine. Or maybe it's fine. The EQ adjustment is fine. So with the EQ, when we use EQ adjustment, the preference adjustment, it kills all targets. It just kills all targets, and I'm fine that way. I'm fine if people would use the preference adjustment. Yeah, definitely. Um, but I don't know. Where was I? So yeah, so people should. I agree with that. People should learn how to EQ. Um, and that's just really it. People should know how to EQ, and it's this app in here. It's gonna be very fun. Like, what do I do with this? So, for example, you can make any IEM sound good. Yeah. And the good thing about this one in here, that the EQ, because when you do PEQ, you either use a global PEQ from FIO, right? Or you do it with UAPP, or you do it with hibi app, right? You do the PEQ in there, import the SRT files or the text files. But with this, it becomes global because the EQ is saved to the DSP. So it's a better implementation of PEQ, I think. How many filters does it support? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 filters. That's not too bad. Not too bad. Yeah, that's not too bad, I guess. So for example, man, this so so for example, EQ model is Moritz Aura Mirror. How many filters does it have? Probably I need to remove. Oh, no, I need that because it only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, okay. 8 filters. Not bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So I have 8 in there. And I export, is it? Yeah, I export and then I go to here, EQ reset. Wait, let me show you. Let me just okay. So I'm gonna put this in the P. Sorry about that. I feel like, yeah, I think because I inserted the dongle, so I'll figure this out. Anyhow, yeah, it's because I inserted a dongle to mess up with here. Yeah, I know the PRN Black Pearl measures really well because it's a CS43131, right? Um, I think the Black Pearl is 43131 though. Yeah, J Kim. He likes to write about 43131. He even um I think he did the J Cali JM21 or something. I like that dongle. I mean, like, I had that dongle for like 2022 when I was in Japan. I told myself I don't want to spend more on dongles. This sounds already good. And then 3 years later, he wrote about it in the Audio Science reviews. Yeah, JM21, I think, if I'm not wrong. J Cali stuff. So I know with the 43131 Cirrus Logic, you can't mess it up, man. They already know how to manufacture it, and it has enough amplification. Um, it just measures good. Yeah. So, but yeah, TRN Black Pearls, they're usually good. It's just that, if you already have them, then why not? And it's also good because, again, the bad thing about this one in here is it doesn't have an independent volume, so all the volume goes to your player, and sometimes like they don't have enough clicks, um, or the increments are too big, and so you cannot fine tune your volume with this one in here compared to like the Melody or the Black Pearl, wherein they have independent volume control, so you can control the volume from the source and from the dongle and fine tune your volume from there. And both of them are good. It could have been better if the TRN Black Pearl. I think you can only change that with what's that app called? Well, I think they changed it. I think you can what's that app? I forgot the app. Paul Wasabi used to, yeah, the Protocol Max used to be in that app, but I don't know. I forgot the app. It's like I don't know. I didn't check it, but anyhow, yeah, you can. And what else was it? Oh, no, it's I know. I think you can change it. I think it was the octave. I think it was the octave that you can walk play. Sorry, walk play. Sorry about that. Ooh, that's interesting work there. Yeah, that's interesting work. Output impedance. Because it does matter. Yeah, definitely it does matter if impedance adapter change, especially with multi-driver IEMs. And this was a problem with, do you know the KZ AES16 Pro? Okay, there's a story about this one in here. I'm not sure if but AES16. Where's my AES16? Right. Um Nothing really changed, but the story about this is, so they released the KZ AES16 Pro, and then after that, I think like people like Paul and me at that time, we were thinking like, why is this like a hump in there and something? Um, And it turns out that the KZ measurement device actually has a very high impedance, and they were tuning their IEMs based off that source. So does it make sense? And so that's why in the company graphs that they print on their boxes, it's different from the ones we measure. And so there was like a little bit of commotion going on, and so they released, or I think they included an impedance adapter, or I think they increased like KZS16 Pro high impedance edition or something like that. And because they were very stubborn, they won't believe. Like we told them, I think Paul. By the way, Paul, I haven't heard from him again, so please do send your prayers to Paul, if you know him. So he's been sick. I hope he is doing fine. But yeah, moving back. So we've been telling KZ that there's really a problem with your source. It is a high impedance, and you're tuning off of that, and that's why when you produce IEMs, they sound different from yours because it measures differently and you tune from that. So probably they learned from that, and when they started, I don't know, after that their IEMs just sounded better. So I don't know if you know that story. I'm that old and I'm that connected in the community before, not as connected as now. I don't know what's, you know, but yeah. And so do you know so Kryn made a collab, right? Um with KZ. What was that? KZ no, I don't have it. Yeah, I think I don't have it. I don't have a rig at that time, but yeah, they did a collab. So the rep on I was close with the rep of KZ at that time. It was not Tivan, it was a different guy. But I was kind of like part of the like why KZ collabed with Kryn. Not directly involved with it, but I was like, I don't know. I helped the guy anyway. I helped the guy. Reached out to Kryn, and that was history. I mean, KZ has potential, and what I mean by potential is, it's all about business for KZ anyway, and that's what I don't like. And at the same time, I respect, because as a, they have a factory, and business is business. Why would you go all in? And they understand the nature of the hobby, that people would find upgrades, and as you can see in their marketing, it's why I don't understand why KZ get the hate with that kind of marketing when other companies like, I don't know, Xiaomi and other stuff, they're doing the same marketing trick, and it's just the nature of the economy. It's a free market. So what I'm talking about. All right. Um and I just don't like that they yeah, I wish they would really innovate more. That's just because they're a very capable company anyway. Um and I feel like they really are doing innovation, like they released the what's that, my favorite KZ, Zenith, and then they waited like, I don't know, maybe a year or two to release the Phantom. um yeah, and they're not releasing as many as possible. I don't know, maybe they're really upgrading their drivers and stuff like that. So I like the way they're heading. um they're still on that budget segment that people, and I think they've switched to audiences. So I've noticed that they're now doing the gamer thing, like They're marketing their stuff to gamers. Um, yeah, exactly. but I, but I respect it. I mean, it's their marketing. It's that's just how the way you just can't. If I don't know, like so. Okay, this is what I know about KZ. I think Tivon is part of the owner, I guess. But they started with a good vision, like budget friendly for musicians. That's how they started, and that's how they got popular with the ZS10 series. Um, and it worked because you know, in on stage you only needed bass and treble and presence area, and that's it. And then they were cheap, and that's how they run their factory. Um, and they have different tuners. And when I say different tuners, I think they have different teams because before CCA, I think it was part of KZ still, and there or I think there are like sister companies, but there's just one building, I guess. Um, so they have different tuners, and what I why we know that there are different tuners because one team when they at that time when they were releasing sets, they were just awful, and they're just I don't know, just they just sound bad. I mean, and then there's another team there that are doing some series that is crazy good, like crazy good. That like they know what they're doing. So there's like two teams in the tuning side, um, that knows. I mean, not knows that one is that they know what they're doing. So and so when you say if the owner is involved with the tuning, I don't think so. But I feel like right now they have the team of tuners that knows how to tune. Because looking at how things are with their present releases, they're tuning pretty good, right? Like the ZS10 Pro. What was that? ZS10 Pro X? Pro 2? I don't know. What's the new one? Is it? I don't know, man. Like I honestly, is it Pro 2? Yeah, probably Pro 2. I don't know, but ZS10 Pro 2. Dude, this is nice. Look at that, dude. ZS10 Pro 2. It's like Hexa, no? Yeah, kind of like Hexa. A brighter Hexa. A little early peak though, but no, it's not. It's not too early. Yeah, this freaking amazing. So, yeah, so with KZ, I think they started with one was an engineer in Audio Technica or something like that. One was an engineer there and one was I think a musician, and they combined and they made KZ. That's how it all started, and then I don't know if they changed owners, but they are very big. They are very big in China. Like if we think like KZ, like the market of KZ in the chi-fi world, like in this niche, maybe a lot of like high-end people like it's KZ, but dude, they are not worried about their they're not worried about revenue at all because a lot of their market is coming from China and they're OEM. So for example, there are concerts and they get contracts to produce IEMs for those concerts and stuff like that. So they earn more than this hobby actually. So what's that called? Like what like the yearly revenue in China? You can actually search that. So I don't know if Adam can how to search that, but like yearly you can search like how much revenue a company got in that specific year, and KZ for like the first few, I don't know, 5 to 8 years, they were like on top. Moondrop was second. So that's how big they are. So usually it's like KZ, Fio, Dunu, and Moondrop. Three, no? KZ, Fio, Dunu, and four. Those four big companies are usually like in the top revenue or something like that. Yes, exactly. And that's what we feel about KZ. They don't have the say because I we know Paul and I and others, we know KZ can do better. This is the bad thing about their business. Not really a bad thing, and I respect that because it's business anyway. They and you're right about Adam too. Like, like they can make more money by not spending too much on development because they have the ability to do that because they have good tuners, but they just kind of like time their release because of course they want to make their business alive, right? So maybe they don't want to spend much on innovation, and I know they recycle drivers, and probably that's why they don't really release as much as now because they got stuck, all companies right now are stuck. What is there to tune? What is there to tune? What is there to what? Like drivers, what they've done everything. We've done planars, then hybrids, microplanars, ESTs. There's so many options, you know? And the hobby is gonna go, we're going into, like we cannot wait for a perfect IM to fit our preference. This is just impossible. The way to end game is really EQ. Or wait. EQ or wait. Yes, exactly. And that's why they earn a lot in the revenue. Because you know, they can sell stuff. But right now it's pretty much balanced. I'm pretty sure KZ is not number one anymore. I'm thinking it's probably either Fio and I don't know another one. I can't think of any, but probably Fio. Moondrop is I don't know, cause Truthear is Moondrop too, right? Shenzhen Audio. Maybe Linsol. Linsol too is I think like all the Linsol brands. Probably they're also gaining. Yeah, 5 companies actually. KZ, Fio, Linsol, Duno, and huh? KZ, Fio, Duno. Hmm? Fio, Duno, Moondrop, KZ, and Linsol. Yeah, all 5. Those 5 companies. Yeah, but the thing is, yeah, even yeah, I know Fio is behind with the manufacturing, but Fio has different products like um their sources, and so that's why they get a chunk from the revenue as well. But just IEM per se, it's mostly KZ and Moondrop. They have very big factories, but Fayo is giving a chunk because they have different products like headphones, and I don't know, other sources and stuff. And was it here in this chat that I discovered that Hybe is the only, their engineer is the only guy who can integrate uh integrate the DAP OS software like Android. Yeah, they're not as big. They're not as big in terms of production. Yes, definitely. It's KZ and Moondrop are big. But yeah, that is so yeah, that is my where my channel is heading. I'm gonna probably focus more on, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna, because I want to be a proponent to EQ and knowledge. So what I'm gonna do is when I review an IEM and I score them still, but at the end I'm gonna give an EQ preset that would make it probably better, just so that to just to spark curiosity for the viewers, and I hope that will help, and so they will start to tinker, and learn how to EQ, because the thing is, I think the only one who's doing that is Duckbloke, like giving EQs and stuff. And I also do that from time to time, like if I've like, with my Truthear Pure. And so just people need to be like, because people are just saying just EQ, but a lot of people don't really have the, I don't know, like they're too lazy to research on it. But if you spoon feed it to them and you give it to them the video, they pause and like, okay, let me try that, and then they tinker, and then that's the start of it. So I'm gonna do that in my videos, you know I'm gonna do that in my videos in the future. So still the same scoring stuff, and then just maybe give an EQ recommendation at the end. Hopefully people will start to EQ and buy less. Or maybe I don't know. Yeah, I know. I know. He way too much bass. I know. It's V-shaped. But at least he gives his EQ, right? But then again, EQ is more like a preference thing as well, like what sounds to you, but just having to do, or just giving access to people, like do the PQ and let them play around, that's a start, That's a start. And yeah. So I am getting the Kfine set. So I'm actually waiting for the Honor, and then I requested for the what was that? Delcy. Yeah. So they're sending me the Delcy AE. They're just waiting for the new batch productions of the Arnar. The Arnar graphs good. It has a presence dip. Um could be a good canvas for EQ, I don't know, but I'm getting the Delcy and the Arnar. So but they haven't sent it yet. So yeah, I am getting them. So yeah, looking forward to that. what else do I have coming? Oh yeah. Um, so I borrowed the Kiwi Ears Astral and T. Was it T Pro? Dude, I forgot. Top Pro. So I borrowed Kiwi Ears Astral Top Pro and Let Your Ember from Omar. And then but I haven't, but I was supposed to borrow the Astralis from Omar, Let Your Astralis, but Jatis, he promised Jatis to send it to him first. And so after that, maybe Jatis is going to send me the Astralis and probably also borrow the Let Your Ultra. And I don't know. Let me know so you can post on my community what you want me to review or give my opinions on. I can try to find other sets. I can always borrow from Mark or JT's anyway. Oh yeah, I haven't reviewed this. It is the AH11. Yep. Oh man, you just reminded me I needed to review that too. It's actually here. It's nice. Yeah. I think I made my impression of this. I needed to review this too. Yeah. Um very good, like $30, dude, and you can PQ. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I can make a video of that. Um, definitely. So, but I need to find like a smooth sounding set. Yeah, definitely, I can do that. That's interesting. Yeah, I can do that. Like, will it sound? I know I can EQ the Dunokima 2 to EP321 perhaps because they are smooth. Not a lot of filters. You know what I mean? But dude, they're not gonna. I already can tell they're not gonna sound the same. Yeah, they're just. I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I could be wrong, but um, yeah, I could do this. EP321. These can be just a few filters. Definitely, this is doable because they're both smooth. Not a lot of, but I can already tell. Fear released Bluetooth closed back. Yeah, I think I've heard of that. I think I've heard of that. Yeah, definitely. We can do that on Squig, but I mean, we can do that on this app in here, not the app, the dongle, the Truthear. I just have to find out how you can put the SRT file, but definitely it's a fun video. Yep, definitely. So I'm thinking maybe we can do past 8K though. I want to lift this a little bit because there's really not a lot of difference actually. But I can also do the Rockies. It's also smooth. Or how about, yeah, I can experiment. Definitely I can experiment, man. I can do the Rockies and the Cadenza 12, you know, like $500, and this one in here. It's okay for me not to touch past 8K, and I can just tune this because both of them have ESTs. I can do that. Yeah, that's a fun video. And you know, my intro will be like, I tuned this cheap set to this one. Do they sound the same or something like that? But definitely, I can do that because I have access anyway and I can listen. So, pretty good. Thanks for the suggestion, Ren. It is really cool to see. So, I'll do that. Oh, hey, JPLA 1000. Hey, man. Review if you can. Top Pro and Australis. Yes, definitely I'll review that. I'm just waiting for Omar. I'm happy for Omar, though. Did you see the news? He just revealed his face casually. Omar has reviewed his face casually. He's now part of the Linsol team doing Spanish. So that is interesting. Yeah. I know, it's not. EQ content to Rockies. So I need to match the they should match. They should oh, not bad. Look, dude. Okay. So the Rockies and the content is actually not bad except for this 15K peak in here. There's going to be very few filters in here. See. Well, let me EQ JK content to the Rockies and maybe 10K 10K only. I'll do that. Ooh, not bad. Yeah, you can do that. It's maybe this is the difference in here, but I can definitely do that. No, this one here, it's like the limit is only here, so definitely very small changes. Like, how many filters are this? I can remove this. I don't need that. Yeah. So probably only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 filters. That's enough. Do I need 7K? I don't need 7K. I feel like that's just the coupler resonance. So only 5 filters. Do I need this? Yeah, I need that tuck. So 1, 2, 3, 5 filters. I can try that. Do I need 6? Yeah, I need the 6K. Yeah, that's fun. You know what? I'm just gonna try it now. I don't want you to wait. Oh God. Okay, I'm just gonna try it now. But manually EQ though. I'm gonna manually PEQ them. It's not so much anyway, so this is gonna be the last part, okay? And after that I'm done. So I'll start with here. 170. Q value of 1.4, yeah. Gain of -6. Okay, that's band 0. 690. Q value of 0.7. Gain is 2. To 1. Oops. 2100 -5. One. Really? Why is this too high? Ah, okay, because the gain is too high. Got it. Band 3. 3, 2. Q value of 2. .1. Peaking. And last one is 6.1. 4.2 and 4.3. Okay, all right. First, I'm gonna listen to I can't blind test, man. I know the cable. I know the cable. It's hard to blind test, and I know how it feels. So, and I know I'm not too prejudiced about this. I'm gonna tell you as okay. I'm using the Rockies now. All right. I've done AB million times, and I know it's ideal to be volume matching them. That's just the ideal way to do it. And I'm not. This experiment is probably a little bit what? Unreliable. But I'll do my best, to be honest. Okay, let's see here. Bruh, it's nice. Bruh, this is... it's good. It's good. Like, I feel... No, you don't need... I guess you don't need to spend $500 on the Rockies. Only because... the treble elevation is very close. And... You know, and that's why I said when you EQ, it has to be very close, and there's, you know, I didn't even touch the upper treble in here, right? Okay, let me do this again in here. Gonna... Dude, I'd be lying if um no, you can EQ definitely the content to the Rockies. Yeah. You just made me regret, man. You just made me regret why I bought the Rockies. But the Rockies does have an edge on that ESD. It just sounds more, how do I say, cleaner? Not cleaner, just more. But again, dude, like $4 versus 500. Come on. You got to be realistic, right? You got to be realistic. Yeah, man. It's definitely close. So, I'm not too worried about volume matching because I trust my ears that I don't get fooled with the elevation of bass and the treble because I listen to timbre anyway. So, I don't care if it's like boosted bass or something. I listen to timbre, and tonality does that, like, like which instruments are forward or something. So, with this PEQ, you definitely get like 90 to 95% of the Rockies tonality, but the Rockies just sounds I wouldn't say, of course it sounds a little bit better, but it doesn't justify the price. Definitely it does not justify the price. And I've known this that EQ is good. And I know that drivers, what, like, you need to match the levels in the first place anyways. And what I mean by that is it's not so hard to EQ the content to the Rockies because they have a similar past 10k peak anyway. And so we only have to change the tonality here. Resolution wise is the Rockies is more kind of like clear because I cannot EQ this peak in here, right? Past 15k or past 10k, around 15k. I cannot target that. That peak is gonna move anyway, right? Depending on the insertion and the depth, I cannot target that. It's there, but I cannot boost the Rockies to that area because I don't know where that is. That's the first problem. So, but having said that, when you say if it's resolution wise, they sound natural, but think of it as um hmm, think of it as um wait, sorry. I don't know if you can hear that, but think of it as yeah, think of it as 144 HD to 2160p 4K. Can you see the difference? So again, it's like 144p to 2164K. Kind of like that. It's definitely, or maybe 1080p, maybe, yeah, like that kind of, like it's very very small. It's not like yeah, it's very small. It's, yeah, it's not like 360, like this is 360. Definitely not like this. It's definitely more of like 720. it's also not 720. So it's definitely around like 1080 to 140, and then the Rockies would be like 2-1, if that makes sense. I hope that analogy is good. So yeah, I've known this that you can EQ IMs to sound better. Um, but again, this is a hobby. We want to try out different sets, and sometimes you're willing to pay for that 3% change. Or maybe I'm just, justifying my purchase. Who knows? Okay. Yeah, you cannot show and tell, but but you can. I'm doing it like in my perspective. Yeah, maybe you. I'm sorry. Yeah, I should have thought about that. But you can try it. Like it's definitely not from 720 to 2-1. It's not like that. It's the content is not as low res as that. The content is definitely high res, more of like 1080, and then the rock is like 2160. So it's just a little bit cleaner, but it doesn't really justify the price. So moving on to your question, Annie Kumar, dude, I like the EA 1000. Yeah, but again, this is like $4 versus 500, right? Why would you, if the full HD is already good, you know what I mean? Um, so EA 1000, man. Um, no. I would say if you're coming, no, I'm still looking for that bass. Really, like, I cannot replicate the bass on the EA 1000. It's definitely not the Rockies. Um, I really like the bass on the EA 1000, but I would say it's the EP321 would probably be the closest. It's not the Rockies, because the Rockies bass is, it's okay, but I would say it's the EP321. It's not as impactful as the EA 1000, but it's close. Yeah, it's also safer sounding, like kind of like that. I know it's a little bit boosted on the EA 1000 in here in the upper mids, and I told that in my review anyway, that like you want to mitigate that. But it's the yeah, it's the EP321. It's not the Rockies. Yeah, Rockies is different. I only bought the Rockies because of the EST, and I was assuming that I so in that price range, I think very few IEMs have ESTs. So we have the HBB Punch, which is a bass head. I'm not a fan. There is Variations, which is, I'm also not a fan of the Tuck, but the Rockies is probably closest to my preference, and so that's why I bought the Rockies for future comparisons on IEMs with ESTs. The reason I said that is because, just for the record, there are ESTs, but it doesn't mean they really sound good. It's just that for my future comparisons, that I can tell them like, hey, you don't need to spend $1,000 for IMs with ESTs if the Rockies sounds as good, And again, it boils down to my content, or like I'm very practical. Why would I spend $1,000 on something if the Rockies can achieve it? And also, having said that, I was actually planning on the Rockies to do this like a canvas. This is a good canvas for EQ, right? So I can EQ the Rockies to whatever TOTL out there because it's smooth. It is a good canvas, so I can do that too. So if I can do that to the content to the Rockies, I can do that to the Rockies versus a top of the line set. Does that make sense? Yeah, I understand your point, Miss, but it's the closest analogy I can do. Um, it's like, so I know it's not ideal to compare visual with sound, but the thing is, um my analogy is, for example, you're like listening to music and you're not really paying attention, you don't really hear a lot of difference. If you're just listening to music and just jiving through the music, you don't really hear a lot. But once you really focus, like you focus on how it sounds, then you tend to see the difference. But there's also a lot of factors, because because you're now focused on something, you cannot focus on the same instant. It's also a little bit prejudiced when you actually do critical listening, because you may notice that, this is my thought process in here. You may notice, like, for example, a lot of people say, yeah, I can hear a lot of, I didn't hear that before. Maybe you didn't hear that before because you didn't pay attention, but now you are paying attention and that's why you heard it. Does that make sense? And so, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people do critical listening and they say, I didn't hear this before. And you didn't hear that before because you didn't pay attention. But now you paid attention, and that's why you heard it. And that's why I said I kind of like lightly compared it to the visuals, because if you're not really picking up on the details visually, you say, yeah, it's good. But unless you really focus on something, then yeah, maybe there's a little bit of difference in I don't know, like pixels or something like that. But if you're just watching from far away, it's the same music, it's the same song, it's the same good song, it's the same good image, but you're just, and it doesn't justify anything really. I know, and I know that intentional listening is very uh yeah, it's a very, how do I say it? It's a very, it's not it's not repeatable. It is not repeatable, and that's why in my, when I do listening impressions, I always start with Unwell, Matchbox 20, Under My Umbrella, because those first few songs, I've heard of it a million times. I know how they should sound, at least for my preferences. I know what I'm looking for, and it's repeatable. It's science. When you want science, you want repeatable. You cannot have a random library and then doing intentional listening and find out more, only to realize that you actually find more details because you paid attention to it. So for a while, let me pee. Okay, so moving back. So you said there's no way to make fake pixels. If thumbing is tended to be, there's only that set of number of pixels. I agree with that. Now, when it comes to sound, and that's why I specifically said on YouTube, this is unlike YouTube, the difference is between, what was that? The difference is between, so this is in comparison to content and the Rockies, okay? The difference is between um, 1080 HD or 140 HD and 4K. And I didn't say it's 720 because if I say 720, it's just it is a very noticeable jump in quality. Like it's like probably 50% of quality, and I don't think it that way. I feel like the difference with the content and the rock content EQ to the Rockies is very, very negligible, to the point that that's why I compared it to only like 1080 or 140 and a jump to 264K. And that's what I'm trying to point. Yep, it's from Hi-Fi Go. So that's what my point is. And so going back to your question, there's your question is like, what's equivalent for sound? There is no, and this is a good thing about EQ. This is on light and this is in a positive note that sound, EQ'd sound, the content is actually as close to the Rockies. That's my point in there. And I'm not saying that, you know, I noticed the difference because I don't notice the difference between like just looking at DMS video in here, like 140 or 1440 HD and 2161. Like if I'm just it's very minute. Like the changes are very minute. And same thing with the content EQ to the Rockies. If that makes sense. But yeah, I am a proponent for EQ, definitely. Okay, good question. So this is now a question on resolution, right? And that's why I was very vocal about resolution, you know, and because for me, resolution is not about clarity, it's not about treble, it's more about how real instrument sounds. Okay. And I get your point, and I kind of like don't like when people say like, you know, like resolute or something, and I also catch myself doing that. Because for me, again, for me, resolution is how real instruments sound in real life, and I think IMs right now, they are more than capable of doing that. But there are certain IMs in the top of the line that sounds really clear. Like even if their tonality is a little bit skewed, but when you listen to the bass drum or like bass guitars, they're just really good. They sound complete. I don't know if that makes sense, but they just sound complete. And I hate to say this, but there are IMs that can do that, and they are top of the line. And you know, that's part of my journey to find sets that can do that less than $1,000, or if it can be um if it can be achieved with EQ, then much better, you know. But the thing is, I need to graph them first. I'm really interested on the Mystic Craft, because I've heard a lot of good things about the Mystic Craft, and I want to EQ them to, I think JTiz has, where's JTiz? Yes, exactly. The detail is always there. I know. But there are just it's hard to explain, man. I really want to try the Mystic Craft. Mystic Craft from JTiz. I hope I can borrow the Hex and the Myth. This treble in here is you cannot replicate this with EQ. You can only hear this. There's no way. Okay, let me show you what I did in here. Sorry about that. So for example, a lot of people have said about the Hex and the Myth, this jagged treble in here. You cannot replicate this with PEQ, unfortunately. This is just impossible. Okay. And I'm starting to believe that, like this jaggedness can also come across maybe, I don't know, sparkly or something, because anyway, sounds, they go up and down, like they're waves. So sound waves, they're called waves for a reason, and they're supposed to act like waves. And I feel like this kind of like wavy treble might actually have an effect on perceived resolution. Yes, I might actually, because a lot of people seem to like the Annihilator, that jagged, I mean, they're smooth, but they seem to like it a lot. But this is impossible to EQ, really. But you're right. What I'm saying is, yes, it's true that the details were there, and it's just because of the tuning, whether they're loud or not. But what I'm also saying is there are IEMs that it's hard. So maybe what I'm saying is there are IEMs that can, for me, realism is timbre and one is space. Now that space is, I am very how do I say? There are IEMs that replicate space so well, and I'm always a sucker for 3D imaging. And unfortunately, like the content, it does sound close to the Rockies tonally, but it cannot replicate the space that the Rockies is producing, maybe because it is a what's this? It's a multi-driver setup. There are different tubes, and I know this shouldn't really affect well because we measure it anyway and they have a frequency graph, but my assumption is there has to be more to it. And when I say that is, we are looking at graphs and they can be tonally correct, but I feel like the content was not able to replicate the spaciness. Oh man, that's hard. We're now talking about intangible stuff. It might even be placebo, dude, but yeah, I'm a sucker for that spacing. And for me, if the space is available, for me resolution is good because it's close to like a real life instrument, right? Like there's space between vocals and stuff. Content doesn't seem to have that because again, it's a single DD doing everything on its own, compared to like the Rockies with different frequencies firing. And I don't know about the time delay, or I don't know what time or something, but yeah. But my point is, you can tune, you can EQ, and EQ is not that hard, and I will promote EQ from now on in my reviews, and share to me my EQ on the content to the Rockies, and I hope everyone will like it. Yes, I know. What's his name? But yeah, I know the Mystic Craft is the tuner of Elysian, or was the owner of Elysian. Um, But yeah, interesting topic. Yep. So I guess that is it for today, guys. Wow, it's a nice talk. It's a nice talk. But yeah, just letting you know that I may not release a lot of reviews in the future because I'm gonna be a little more picky with what I review. But maybe more reviews on cheap budget sets. I want to focus more on cheap sets sounding good. Like you don't have to buy this because there's good sets already. Um, I don't want to be part of the hype. Like I maybe post some, but I wanna. I feel like I feel like, for example, like the Lecture Ultra. Like no one's talking about the Ultra now. No one's even talking about the Divine. You know, Divine is freaking good, man. It's a very good canvas for EQ. No one's talking about it. Why would no one talk about the Divine? It's like you can stop at the Divine. Like you graph like EP321, and for 150 bucks, you don't have to spend more on planars. You just buy the Divine and EQ from there. Yeah, I can't find any planar that graphs like this. On the Divine is just very good. Like has that dip in there, so definitely follows closely my balance target. Just a different peak in there, but yeah. But not a lot of people talk about it. And thank you so much for Adam. He bought the Divine, but that's the thing in this hobby. We need to let people know to, hey, stop buying. There are good IMs already, and maybe. So I want to do that kind of videos, like reviewing old stuff. I know I won't get a lot of views, but it's for me. It's not really the views, but it's more of like, I'm gonna keep it low key from now on. I'm just gonna keep it low key, just kind of like just between us. um, if I get discovered, good. If not, fine, no problem. It's not about discovery for me anyway. It's more of like, it's really about like the people you talk to, and I mean, you can. I'm pretty sure there are other reviewers that share the same sentiments as me. Kanta, Kanta, what Kanta, Kanta. What IM was Kanta again? Kiwi Ears Kanta. You bought the Kanta? You bought the Kanta. Oh no. Yeah, I can. Yeah, definitely. We've okay. So we've reached this. I need to. So I definitely want to focus more on EQ in here, and I want to point out that there are a lot of IMs that are good for EQ canvassing, just like the Divine, the Kunten, the Zenith. Probably not the Zenith so much, but the Tears, the Dunukima 2. Very smooth sounding, like a lot of IMs that are smooth sounding, and I want to continue doing that. Oh, okay. I think you mentioned the Kanta, but yeah, I haven't heard that. Let me graph sniff. Ooh, okay. Interesting. But yeah, I think that's all for now, guys. Really thank you for today. It's fun. I didn't know that this stream would lead into different topics just naturally, just conversation and stuff. Thank you so much, Misk, for leading the way. Ren, thank you. Of course, Adam and JPLA 1000. Thank you so much, guys. For being members. I don't force you to be a member. I mean, but thank you anyway. Yeah, I will see you next time for another review. Let's just chill. Let's keep it low key. Um, continue sharing your EQ on the community tab.
I do try them. I do try them. It's just that I don't sometimes I don't have time to reply, but I do try them. Um I do wish that YouTube you can paste or SRT files in there, but it's would be easier to share SRT files. But if we share EQ files, you just have to type in manually, right? But that's just the way it is. Continue doing that. Have a nice week and see you next time. Enjoy the hobby. Don't get audio fooled. Try to learn how to EQ. It's free. And with the experiment now, you made me regret on buying the Rockies. But no, I will still justify my purchase on the Rockies because I will EQ the Rockies to top of the line stuff so that I can justify my purchase. Bye for now, guys. Have a nice day, and I'll catch you next week. Maybe depends. Maybe next week when new sets arrive. Enjoy your day.